Hello everyone. Tonight we're going to do Module 4, Lesson 14, and we will be multiplying unit fractions by non-unit fractions tonight. Here's our first problem. Jan had 3/5 pan of Rice Krispie treats. She sent 1/3 of the treats to school. What fraction of the whole pan did she send to school? So we're trying to find out what 1/3 of 3/5 is in this problem, and as you all know, that means that we're multiplying 1/3 times 3/5. So I'm going to draw my rectangular fraction model. Here's my pan of Krispie treats. It represents the whole pan. However, she only has 3/5 of a pan. So I'm going to make my fifths. I'm going to color in the 3/5 to show this is the part that she's actually got. The other 2/5 are gone. And she wants to send 1/3 of what she has into school. So I'm going to divide my whole up into thirds in the other direction. And now I can see that the part that has both the white line and the blue line is the part she sent to school. And so that's 3 parts out of a total of 15 parts. So my answer should be 3/15. And if I look over here at the numbers, I can see that what I did was, if I multiply 1 times 3, I'm going to get that 3 for the numerator. So I had 1 section out of the 3, and I multiplied it by the 3 sections in the 3 columns in the 3/5. And then to get my denominator, the total number of pieces the whole was divided into, I've got 3 in one direction and 5 in the other direction, and 3 times 5 is 15. So it works on this one as well. 3/15 is my answer. However, it's not in simplest form, so I have to take a look at it and say, okay, I can divide both 3 and 15 by 3, and when I do that, 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. And I'm going to show you an alternate way to do this on the next slide. Let's take a look at a slightly different way of thinking about this problem. I'm going to draw my area model, my rectangular fraction model, label the whole, and I'm going to show where my 3/5 are again. 3/5. And I want to find out what 1/3 of 3/5 is. But this time, instead of making my lines in the other direction, I'm going to look, and I notice that 3/5 is already divided up into thirds. I have 1, 2, 3/5. And so 1/3 is going to be one of those parts. In other words, 1/5. Now 1/5 is the same answer I got when I did it last time. And so actually what I did here was I kind of simplified before getting my answer instead of waiting until after I got my answer. And to do that numerically, I would take 1/3 times 3/5, and I'm going to notice that I've got a 3 here in my numerator, and I also have a 3 here in my denominator of the other fraction. So when I multiply 3 times 5, that means that I will have to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 3 to find simplest form. So I'm actually going to divide them both by 3 before I multiply. I know it's coming up around the bend, so 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 3 one time. I'm going to do it right now, and then I have 1 times 1 equals 1. 1 times 5 equals 5. And I know that most of you who were in the enrichment math group last year already know how to do this. If you would like to try it out, you may do it this way. If it works better for you to get the answer that's not in simplest form and then simplify it, go ahead and do it that way. Whatever works for you. Here's our first quiz problem. Jan had 3/4 pan of Rice Krispie treats. She sends 1/3 of the treats to school. What fraction of the whole pan did she send to school? So we're trying to find out what 3/4 of 1/3 is. If you need to go back and review the previous slide to remind yourself how to do this, please do that before taking the quiz. If you're feeling confident, go ahead, draw a rectangular fraction model on your scratch paper. Make sure that your answer is in simplest form, and answer the quiz question with an expression and solve it. Oh goody, we get to do a problem with, there's no story, it's just the problem. 1/2 times 4/5. So we are going to draw the rectangular fraction model. I'm actually going to draw 2, and I'm going to do this 2 ways. I have lots of room since I don't have a story taking up a lot of space. 1/2 times 4/5. So one way of doing it is simply finding my 4/5. Oops, I better label everything and set a good example, right? So there's my whole, here's my 4/5, and I need to find out what half of that is, so I'm going to draw a line the other way, and then I will shade in that area as well. And so this is the part that is 1/2 of 4/5. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as my denominator now, because my whole is divided into 10 parts. And 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are double shaded. So 1/2 of 4/5 is going to be 4/10. I can show that up here by multiplying 1/2 times 4/5. I'm going to multiply 1 times 4 and 2 times 5, and I get 4/10. Both of those are even numbers, so I know they can both be divided by 2 to be simplified. So simplest form of 4/10 is 2/5. Using method number 2, this time I'm going to simplify before I get the answer. I can use the same area model. There's one whole. I'm going to do my 4/5. It doesn't matter which one I do first. I just chose to do that first. There's 4/5. It actually makes more sense when I do it this way. And I want to find out what 1/2 of 4/5 is. Well, I've got, here's my 4/5 shaded in. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know that half of 4 is 2. So I'm going to go ahead and double shade just 2 out of my 4, because 2 is half of 4. And so the answer will be 2/5, because it's these 2/5 right here are 1/2 of the total 4/5. So what I have done, if you wanted to do that numerically without drawing the rectangular fraction model, you would take 1/2 times 4/5, and I am going to say 2 will go into 4 2 times and simplify it. And 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. My answer is 2/5. I got 2/5 no matter which way I did the problem. Here's your next quiz problem. No story, just the expression for you to solve. 1/3 times 6/7. If you're not feeling confident yet, go back and review the slide. Make sure that you're feeling confident before you take the quiz so you get your best possible score. And then I want you to think about you know, do you think you will have to reduce this to simplest form once you get to the answer? Is it possible to simplify it beforehand? After you draw your area model, take a good look at the area model to see if there's a way of doing that. So, good luck on the quiz, and I will see you all in class tomorrow morning.